Yo, what is going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy Samar Raider back at it again with another episode of Nation News. Now, I know I haven't come out with a video in these past couple of days because your boy got to finally relax and recuperate after that horrible loss last week. But you know what? Your boy's feeling much better today. And on this episode of Nation News, we're going to be talking about some players being added to the COVID/reserve list. On top of that, we're going to be talking about your favorite quarterback, Derek Carr. And he seems to be a bit pissed. I wonder why. And looking on to the bright side, it seems like the Raiders have some players that were good enough to make the 2021 Pro Bowl. All of that in this episode of Nation News.
And you tell them one thing, just win, baby.
So for your first bit of Nation News, it seems like the Raiders have added 3 more players to the COVID/reserve list. And those 3 players being Daryl Worley, Isaiah Johnson, and Eric Harris. Now, Daryl Worley got added onto it like Friday. Isaiah Johnson joined it on Saturday. And just yesterday on Monday, Eric Harris got added to it. Now, that's 3 players in the secondary, which, you know, our secondary is depleted as of right now. Then again, just because these players were added on the COVID/reserve list does not mean that they have COVID. They could have just came into contact with somebody that had COVID. Now, that's funny because I swear, Daryl Worley and the rest of these guys did a great job of social distancing on Thursday Night Football last week, because it seemed like all of the Chargers receivers had so much room out there. It didn't seem like anybody was near them. But then again, you know what? Maybe I saw things, because I swore I didn't see none of these guys on the field doing anything or even tackling anybody. So, okay, joking aside, in this situation, usually the first person that gets added to the COVID/reserve list is the person that tested positive for COVID. Now, in this situation, that could mean Daryl Worley tested positive. And it would make sense why Isaiah Johnson and Eric Harris got added to the list, because it seemed like all those guys came into contact with each other. Now, Isaiah Johnson could return as soon as Thursday. And for Eric Harris, it seemed like he will miss the rest of this week for practice, but he could return for Saturday's game against the Dolphins. But if you were to ask me, I hope his ass does not return for Saturday's game, because he's just going to be another liability out there on this defensive side. Now, we are depleted in the secondary. We don't really have a lot of players out there, especially with all the injuries and people that just got added to the COVID list. We could see more of Darren Levitt at the safety position, play more snaps. Again, that's just another liability out there because he's trash, and I'm just trying to say that in the nicest way. Now, a guy that I hope can return this week versus the Dolphins is Jonathan Abram, our second-year player that missed last week's game against the Chargers. Now, hopefully he can come back this week with all the rest that we did have for these past couple of days. We all know we could definitely use the help, and I hope that LaMarcus Joyner gets some snap at the safety position, because again, LaMarcus Joyner is a much better option than Darren Levitt at the safety position, but that's not saying much because, again, our defense is fucking trash. Now, this really sucks because we really don't have a lot of depth at the safety position, and it makes me wonder why we don't go out and get guys like Earl Thomas, Demarius Randall, or like just somebody to come in and provide depth at this defensive position. But we should find out later on this week if these players will be able to return for this week's game against the Dolphins. It's not like I'm banking on them to come and make a difference on this defense, because we've already seen time and time again how bad our defense is, especially in the secondary. Now let's move on to our quarterback, Derek Carr. Now, we already know that Derek Carr suffered a groin injury versus the Chargers in the Thursday Night Football game last week. He went out in the first quarter when he tried to make a play in the end zone, but pulled the groin, went out, and we all see my cousin Marcus Mariota come into the game and ball the fuck out. Now, reports did come out and said that Derek Carr suffered a significant injury and he could be out 10 to 14 days. Possibly missing this week's game versus the Dolphins. There were other reports saying that Derek Carr seems to be pissed and he wants to play this week versus the Dolphins. He wants to do everything that he can to go out there and play this week versus the Dolphins. Now, we have seen Derek Carr go out there and play and give it his all, you know, his blood, sweat, and tears to this organization. Especially in 2016, we've seen him come back with injury and still play. One time when he had that broken finger against the Panthers, he came right back out and balled out and won the game. He also suffered like rib injuries, and he still went out to finish off the season until he broke his ankle. And I know he was pissed after that game on Thursday because he wanted to finish off that game and he wanted to go out there and beat the Chargers and keep our playoff hopes alive. But obviously we didn't. And if you were to ask me, even if Derek Carr was able to play and finish off that game versus the Chargers, I honestly don't think that the results would have changed at all because of how bad our defense played. Now, I understand that the media and some Raider fans want to make controversy like, oh, should we go with Derek Carr or should we go with Marcus Mariota? whose team is it? And at the end of the day, it's Derek Carr's team. And Marcus Mariota said that and stated that earlier this week. And that's why I have so much respect for Mariota, because he knows that this is Derek Carr's team. And if his number is called, he'll go out there and perform. And we seen that last week against the Chargers. Marcus Mariota had such a great game versus the Chargers. I understand why Derek Carr would want to go out there and play this week, because he has been having such a good season so far this year. Other than the Falcons game, he's balled out, and I know he wants to go out there and give this team his all and at least finish the season off strong. But honestly, if Derek Carr isn't able to go this week versus the Dolphins, we're in good hands with Marcus Mariota. And this is why we go out and pay a guy like Marcus Mariota out there the money that we paid him, because he's capable of going out there and winning games. And we've seen this past week how well he played, especially in his offense. He had 226 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 88 yards on the ground, and had a touchdown on top of that. And then again, there is the question of maybe Marcus Mariota did play good this past week, because the Chargers did not plan for Marcus Mariota to go out there. And it felt like John Gruden was more aggressive with the play calling with Marcus Mariota, and they weren't ready for that. Now we'll see if Marcus Mariota is able to go play this week versus the Dolphins. We'll see how well he plays in this offense against a good defense like the Dolphins, especially a Dolphins team that has tape on Marcus Mariota. But then again, it's good to see that the Raiders have a capable backup in Marcus Mariota to come in whenever Derek Carr is not able to go. So that goes straight into the question that I got for you guys, Raider Nation. Even if Derek Carr is okay to play this week versus the Dolphins, who should the Raiders start? Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Man, I can't wait to see your answers, because if you were to ask me, obviously I want my ooze Marcus Mariota to go out there and ball out. Whew, okay, enough of all that negative news. Let's get on to some positive news. The Raiders have 2 Pro Bowlers on their team. Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller makes the 2021 Pro Bowl team. Now, this is the first time for both players being on the Pro Bowl team. This is Josh Jacobs' 2nd year in the league, and he's already in the Pro Bowl. I believe he should have made it last year, but you know what? That's besides the point. And Darren Waller should have been in there last year, but it's good to see that he's in the Pro Bowl this year. He's a top 2 tight end in the league. There's Travis Kelce, and then there's Darren Waller. He's balled out this season, and he's been a really reliable weapon for both Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota, which we've seen this past week against the Chargers. Josh Jacobs, on the other hand, is only getting started, and it's great to see that he's made the Pro Bowl. Now, he started off the season pretty hot, but I honestly think that he's been slowly staggering down these past couple of weeks. But I'm not going to complain about Josh Jacobs making the Pro Bowl. It's just great to see that one of our top picks got added to the Pro Bowl. Now, the Raiders had 7 players finish in the top 10 of voting at their position. First up, we had Darren Waller coming in 2nd for the tight end position. Josh Jacobs went 4th for the running back position. Rodney Hudson went 5th in voting for the center position. But I'm going to get to that in just a bit. Daniel Carlson came in 6th for kickers. Jonathan Abram came in 7th for strong safety. And Alec Ingold came in 9th for fullbacks. Now, let me get back to Rodney Hudson. I believe Rodney Hudson got snubbed big time. He is the best center in the league. Don't at me. Out of all the centers, you can't tell me that Marquise Pouncey and Ryan Kelly are both better than Rodney Hudson. With the year that Rodney Hudson has been having, and the fact that he's been an Iron Man, he's been on the field. Out of all the offensive linemen that we had being injured, Rodney Hudson was still there, and he's played every single game this season. And he is the main anchor to this offensive line. It just shocks me that he wasn't able to make the Pro Bowl this year. On top of that, Alec Ingold ranked 9th in fullback voting. And the Ravens, Patrick Ricard, made the Pro Bowl for the AFC team. And honestly, I don't think he has done half the things that Alec Ingold has done, especially for a 2nd-year player. Alec Ingold has been balling this season, had a lot of memorable plays, and he's led the way for our running backs in Devontae Booker and Josh Jacobs. He's one of the best, if not the best fullback, especially in the AFC. You can't come at me and say that Patrick Ricard is better. Now, I gotta give him some props. He is a solid fullback for the Ravens, but nah, bruh. Alec Ingold tops him, and he should be in the Pro Bowl. Honestly, to me, I think the NFL be tripping and they be hating on the Raiders. But Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller, they were obvious picks for the Pro Bowl. But you look at guys like Rodney Hudson, who should be an obvious pick, and Alec Ingold. I honestly think he was another snub for this team. He should have been in the Pro Bowl as well. But I know at the end of the day, the Pro Bowl doesn't really mean shit. It's not really as competitive as it used to be, but it's just good to see these accolades for our players. And it is good to see that some Raider players were selected to be in the Pro Bowl. Now, as you guys already know, the 2021 Pro Bowl was supposed to be held in Vegas, but this year the NFL has chose to go in the route of a virtual Pro Bowl. Now, honestly, I don't know what that really means. I know that they're going to implement Madden 21 in that trash ass game with the whole Pro Bowl and do something like that, but it's still not going to be the same. But it's good to see that the NFL gave Las Vegas another chance. So in 2022, Las Vegas will host the NFL Pro Bowl. So Raider Nation, what are your thoughts on Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller making the Pro Bowl? And is there any other Raider snubs that you guys think got snubbed for the Pro Bowl this season? Let me know down in the comments below. All right, Raider Nation, that is all I have for you guys today on this episode of Nation News. What are your thoughts on the subject at hand? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please smash that like button. It does a lot for this channel and it helps me very, very much. And if you guys are Raider fans and this is the first time you're watching this video, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button just to notify you guys when I upload more videos just like this one. With that being said, until the next video, this is your boy Samoa Raider, and your boy is Yow.
And you tell them one thing. Just win, baby.